Hey folks, Nick Tockert here with the Historical Fencing Guild. Before we get into our program, we want to make sure to thank a few really good folks, including but not limited to my Patreon members who, through their generous donations, allow me to normally keep doing what it is I keep doing. So that's Off in the Woods, Frog G, Ronald Rain, Bladed Thesis, Brian K. Morris, Cindy Kep, and Steve Augusto, my OG, the original backup. So I want to thank them. Their generosity knows no bounds. Through their hard work, I am able to do a lot of things. Now, I'm going to probably. I'm sorry. I'm still a little rattled. Let me get my. Well, my books are all scattered over here. So we're also made possible by sales of The Simple Sword, The Fighting Axe, and The Simple Spear. These three books are part of my ongoing series of manuals of defense designed to help you get a sword in your hand and understand how to use them. Now, for the folks who didn't see my explanation, on my morning show on the other network, the Nicholas Tockert YouTube channel. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to that after you've done that here. I basically randomly dislocated my wrist. A couple of the bones in my wrist went places they weren't supposed to go. And I have to, I've been trying to take care of them all day and take it easy. But I'm having to wear my night rig to hold things together until it settles back down from being, popped. Oh, Lord, there it goes again. Popped back into place. I may be having to seek medical assistance on that. Not like emergency, but, we'll see. So I'm a little out of it today. So please pardon me if I seem either low energy or slightly distracted or distractible. I actually had plans to set up and do a discussion on introductory leatherwork today, but obviously my hand will not do it. So I will not be able to do that. Let me just get that off of there, get that there, and then we'll go here and put that there. Okay, thank you. Now, so I'm going to have to fall back and punt a bit. So I'm going to go through the comments real quick, and then I'll see who's here and what we're talking about and how everybody's feeling, and then we'll get into some discussion, because there is some discussion that can be born from dealing with the unexpected injuries, and we'll get into that. But I want to knock through the people and give you guys a welcoming in before we get into that. And like I said, I'm having a little bit of issue because I'm at a nerve pain med window, unfortunately, at this time, and the powers are kind of compiling against me. So, evening, everyone. Good evening, Foxy. How are you doing, love? And here I come to sword fight Nick. Oh, I wish you could, Thesis. Even Gibby, I'd fight you left-handed. I'd love to see you here. Speaking of here, we're joined by Cindy Kep. We're here. And books. Nick has them. You need them. Amazon.com/store/Mr. Nicholas Anthony Tockert II, author. And then all the gobbledygook. Thank you. And who doesn't need cool art? DeviantArt.com/Nick T. Expect a fairly large art dump on there in the near future. We've got a good chance to. I'm a little behind on my uploads to DA, so you can track that too. Tune into the Historical Fencing Guild, and that is the link to today's show. And every Friday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Remember, before I go any farther, remember that Sunday is spring forward. So that's the daylight savings business shifting around. So there you go. Nick empowers people to be dangerous safely. Patreon.com/historical fencing guild. And thank you guys for your patience on there. Thank you for your support while I've dealt with some other things. This is going to be a very important year for the Historical Fencing Guild. We have a lot of people who are going to be coming out to renew their training. I've been talking to them, and I am very excited because I've been taking some measures to rebuild both my health and my physical capabilities. I mean, today's, last night's setback being totally normal for the game and Nick, but we'll get into that too. Let me just catch up with your comments. And Nick's other channel, youtube.com/@NicholasTalker. Yes, I do a live stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, usually from at least 10 a.m. till 11 a.m. Eastern. I also do other programs, and of course this. And ow, 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 ow! Yes, Cindy, this was a fun one. Let me just do something here. Let me close that because that's do not save. Bye-bye. Okay. Sorry. And no worries, Nick. You take care of you. Well, that's not really in my nature. So we're gonna I'm gonna try to give you guys your hour if I can pull it off. And Cindy says, I know nothing about dealing with unexpected injuries. Snark, yeah. And basically what I have is a cascade thing because the wrist, and I literally was just sitting still and the pressure changed and my wrist, I watched my hand go snack and it just popped itself out. And when I had to put it back, it messed up the supercating muscles in my elbow from the old damage and the break, which set off all the muscles around my shoulder and it tried to pop out. So basically I had a catastrophic failure of my right arm. At least it didn't disassemble entirely. So today's been basically wedge myself on the chair couch where everything is held together and just try to be as still as possible. And me neither at all. My hip decided to pop out a half hour ago walking around. Ooh. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Hopefully, Time Change will still be getting up in time to watch NTF. I'm sure Hulu will make sure. Yikes. You rolled a nat 1 on that arm. Yeah, I did. But just because I have been injured by stupid, and it may be a couple days, I may wake up tomorrow with it fine. I may have to go see the doctor and do things about it. But I feel like I'm confessing my sins. I had to not do my sword drills last night. Now, normally you'd say, well, if your right arm is good, do your left arm. And normally you'd be right, except because my left arm is doing so much more to offset for what I can't do right now with my right arm, it takes very little to upset the balance. So by the time when it was time to do my drills as normal, my left arm was starting to show some issues, and by it popping, me doing left stuff, it pulls the right. That's why I do sets of muscles to try to keep that interchange worked. It says, yeah. You sound so thrilled about the doctor. I sympathize. Well, I am not one who is comfortable requiring care. I know I need it, but it kind of goes, I'm being the kind of person who's usually taking care of somebody else. I don't like having to bother people with my own issues. There's usually somebody much more important in my mind that needs to be taken care of or something I should be doing. But unfortunately, as part of accepting the knowledge of my limitations, but yep, and see, Cindy says, and I'm sorry, but my responses are a little slow. Eep. And me either, but sometimes it needs doing. Exactly. Now I'm going to see before I reach out and make an appointment. I want to give it a day or two because it's not as bad as it was earlier. So it's starting to recover. And if it stays on this path, it will be probably Wednesday, I should start feeling good, but my wrist will still be weak, and so I'll be able to do augmented exercises till this builds back up. This is also, when I tell you guys, training like we do is very different than training when you don't have a physical limitation, okay? I kind of go into it in the simple sword a little bit. I talk about it a lot on this channel. Oh, fortunately, I got it all to pop back, which is why I've been wearing the brace most of the day. It was not a comfortable nor pretty situation, but I got it to be basically where it needs to be. And it's only barely starting to bruise up. So I'm doing pretty well. It's just, it's a lot, and it's trying to cause, to trigger my spasms because the nerves are upset. And if I let that spasm, it'll exacerbate everything else. So I kind of have to consciously control my arm's desire to shake and do things. So it is a balance. Now, oh, your brace is very festive. Mine is just bulky, but it does actually work. This is a great brace. Here, let me show you. I went to IU. I can take it off for a minute. Wear something under your braces if you have to. It will keep from abrasion. It'll keep it from getting nasty. This is a type of compression tube that we just cut a hole on, and then custom Norco gloves. I'll probably be investing in the longer ones, but that's neither here nor there. This is really cool because this is actually armoring, and this is my version. This is version, I want to say, 3.0. Yeah, 3.0. And because I talked to the occupational therapist, because I'm an armorer, so I can explain things. Let me put that down. My arm is supported properly on the table. It's fine. I had her reinforce with an extra layer where I've been snapping them in my nightmares. So what this is, it also has additional tape because I script the tape, reinforcement, and a rub pad on the thumb thing, new padding on the part that wraps under and pinches. They've gotten really good, and this is done with a thermoplastic. Now, I don't think it would work for fighting. Not that it's not sturdy enough, because it's really quite sturdy, but I would worry about heat resistance. However, I'd love to play with it. They take the sheet and they roughly cut out the shape, and then they lay it on your arm, and they form it to your arm, and you just have to lay there while this nice lady or gentleman, because one of my first guys was Dave. Dave was awesome. I can't remember the awesome lady I had now's name. I think it was April. It was something like that. And if by chance she hears, I'm sorry. If I've misnamed you, I'm terrible with names. But I told her what was going on, and she modded it quite a bit. So I didn't have to this time, giving bigger overlap to give more control. Extra wide straps, extra wide Velcro. Now, these straps are actually just automotive Velcro. And I would have never thought that would be sturdy enough for, or very similar to automotive Velcro, and self-adhesive Velcro for our use. But it really is. So I may take the knowledge I've gained from some of this and apply it to designing my own armor, because I'm having trouble with the straps. Now, obviously, I don't have access to this lovely thermoplastic material, but I could get HDPE, heat it up, put it over either my arm or a framework, and use the adhesive method for short term or even fitting, and then add for fighting purposes a riveted on like leather belt to actually give more structure for a device not unlike this. Although of course it would be cut off here and have a back. Tucked away in my storage unit are two mild steel sabatons that I acquired as part of a bet, basically, a armoring challenge that was proven to me to not to wear, but I'm going to nail and mount them upside down like a cobbler's anvil, essentially, so that I can then heat plastic and put fabric over the metal form, heat plastic, and use that to produce HDPE arm braces and possibly elbows, but do it as separated pieces. So it's something I've been looking into for quite some time. It's basically when I get my garage set back up and I am healthy enough to do so, I'll be out trying to do things like that, because whenever you're melting plastics, the vapors are really nasty and you want all the all the ventilation as possible. But let's see. So they have rows of different tape, and they asked me what kind I wanted, and I said, "Well, Jarvis, how about we throw a little hot rod red in there?" So I have, because I feel like Iron Man whenever I'm going in there and they're strapping pieces of plastic and hanging things off of me and measuring the grip angles and everything I can do. But the last sets have lasted me before I had to mod them, a year and a half, something like that each. This one should last longer. Now, the first set was pretty well destroyed because that was the set. And I realize many of you are relatively new to me, this channel, and what I do. I used to have to wear braces very similar to these all the time. Post 2020, early 2020, late 2019, when I first started getting diagnosed with things, I had to wear this and try to do everything with this. Can I get where you hold on? I'd be dumb with this plastic thing in my hand, which is why I was so fond of the Purple Heart Armory weapons, because, let me see. Now, where did it go? Oh, there. I can barely grip that, right? And I'm going to do that so I don't risk straining anything. But if I cut the grip tape off, which I have on my, and I'm not sure where it is, my D-guard, I think he calls it a Bowie knife, but it's basically a cutlass. It makes it like this, where I could actually get a grip on it despite having the huge chunk of plastic in my hands. And that was an adaptation I did when I was getting back into shape. Now, part of adaptation is learning, okay, I know that my progress will be plateaued or set back for a while once I am done with this temporary idiocy. Setbacks happen. And if there's anybody who's teaching you this sort of thing and they're not talking about the possibility of setbacks, they're either deluding themselves or they haven't experienced it yet. It's sort of like motorcyclists. There are only two kinds: those who have fallen off and those who are going to fall off. It's just part of the experience of learning and riding and doing things with motorcycles. I have fallen off many times. And I don't ride anymore because I can't. This hand does not like the idea of running a twist throttle. But I also have make sure my braces straps are a color that's not neutral, so it's easier to see at night or in the dark. Let me see here. We're not going to talk about the shenanigans involved with me trying to work my vertical mouse, which is this is the one time my vertical mouse isn't very comfortable. Let's see. And random internet hugs, they are appreciated. My dad and random local HEMA guy thought I was crazy for putting an old sock under my Archer bracer. Oh no, that's that you want padding, and it's going to keep it's going to give the moisture a chance to wick away. Because if you want something gross, you look at the underside of any of the plastic or metal armor immediately after somebody's fought under it. It's something to see wax-hardened leather completely sweated through. It is something else to smell it, and it's something else entirely to wear it. It is a set of experiences. And see, Mandy's going out of reflex. But it's a part of the game. Now, that's the other thing. There is a let me see. I'm going to go through these comments real quick. I've not fallen off. Cindy has not fallen off, but I've never ridden one. That's fair. Neither have I. Fell off my bike plenty. Just never trusted one with a motor. I used to ride all over on a Yamaha Illegana on the CCs and the engine. And let's see, you have a kid's. So you do have things that you can wear under your wrist braces. That's wonderful, Cindy. Because let's just say there are a lot of people who would like a full list of assorted strange measurements that would be helpful to know, myself included. And we can talk about that later. Yet another reason why we didn't make friends with the random HEMA guy. He was a bit of a douche and constantly correcting me in my style. Now, that's one of those that can go both ways, to be fair. And I always have to kind of play devil's advocate a bit with this. But I've known people who have stylistic choices that they don't realize could cause them issue on the field. So it's like there are a lot of people who will try to do leg crosses. You know, they'll cross their legs as they're moving in a way that they're really not prepared for because they've learned a form as a solo drill style form, not as a stress test form, which is why you always want to stress test your martial systems. And let's see, Cindy continues. Oh, okay, that's how I'm going to do that. Just elastic cloth ankle bracelets. Okay, I know what you're talking about. And I wear the colossal knee brace of doom over leggings. Those I'm used to. I used to have to wear near about hip to shin metal sided braces to keep my kneecap from wobbling around and my legs where they needed to be at certain points. I've actually got my legs, knock on wood. Let's not knock with that hand again, into fairly good shape for what I do. But let's see. Yay, knee braces go better over things a lot of time. Absolutely. The first time I did it, I wore a hole in the side of my knee. Yes, absolutely, because you have pivoting rivets that will definitely cookie cut a hole in you. And I wouldn't mind if he I wouldn't mind if he actually knew what I was talking about. Clearly didn't. Like telling me I was shooting my Han bow on the wrong side, or asking me why standing in basic bagua stances. If you have not seen bagua, then you wouldn't know what you're going out. And let's see. And let's see, what's this? Hold on. And Kitty says, that's like asking why we wear leg warmers under our ballet slippers. You want some cushion. Absolutely. And I will say this, and I want that, this is one I will say any day of the week. Ballerinas, anyone who does ballet, are some of the most hardcore people on the planet. Do not ever get confused about the amount of pain, the amount of damage, and the amount of insane training. Now, I know Kitty knows what this, but most people don't. To achieve the raw power levels that a ballerina has in her legs, or any of the the male ballet dancers, to be able to launch yourself up that high from nearly a standstill, sometimes at a standstill, takes phenomenal muscle development, just infinitesimal levels of control. And I've had friends who were ballet dancers, not to be unpleasant, that all of them had ridiculously amazing legs, and their feet looked like they'd been through World Wars I through III. It takes a lot of dedication. That's why whenever I'm talking to martial arts prospective students, I ask them the series of questions that maybe other people don't think of. Like, do you have a background in martial arts? Do you have a background in the military? Do you have a background in marching band? The marching band throws a lot of people off, but marching band has very precise, controlled movements to be able to keep their formations. They know how to move in formation. That means they're wonderful for a shield wall. They usually have better obedience, better rhythm, better understanding of their ranges by footwork. I love those. But dancers, I have to, when I'm dealing with somebody, I tell you guys the basics of things I go through the basic book. But what's different when I am dealing with somebody who I am teaching? Yes. Try making a 2-foot vertical jump on your tiptoes, then land flat foot without snapping your ankle. Not only would I not do that, my ankles are already bent. No, I am not a creature of grace and elegance. Not through want of desire, not for want of desire, not through want of dedication. But a lot of that is stuff I've had to give up as part of my my understanding my limitations. But no, thanks, Kitty. I would fail. The physical education in the true sense of the word, the ability to know where your body is in space and in time and what it's doing, found in somebody who has put a long-term study in dance, and their at least unarmed range understanding is impressive and useful, which means I have to tailor my teaching style towards different things. Because I believe, let's see, I'd probably break that something on the way down. Yes. That's part of the reason why Thesis suggested rope dart for me. It fits very well with the dance skills I already had. Okay, what is it? You might actually really like Shamshir. Shamshir? I have trouble with that word. It's an enunciation thing. But there are certain sword styles built around the same weapons that are used in belly dance. Now, the dancing swords are usually, and I'm not trying to flick people off, but the nerves of my fingers aren't working right now. They're usually not sharp, but the balance is very different than most swords. They're usually curved, and the balance is usually at the center of the arc. That way, it balances nicer when it's placed on the head of a dancer who is going through their movements whilst balancing the sword. Everything I've heard about you, Kitty, would incline me to think that you would have no trouble with that, and it would make a wonderful type of designation. Curved swords. I love curved swords. Don't ever think I don't love curved swords. They are weapons of elegance. Although I have seen dancers do it with straight swords too. It's just harder. Sorry, I'm a Skyrim nerd. That's okay. You're not the only one, but I've had some people react to curved swords. Let's see. We know, Lovey. Aw, y'all are cute. Let me see. But shockingly, I would not be a Nord in Skyrim. I'm pretty sure I'm very much a Brenton just by attitude and proclivities. We'll put it that way. Saying odd things about the Elder Scrolls universe. That being said, my arm isn't working right now. Under normal circumstances, if it wasn't so far advanced that the pain and malfunctions are radiating up into my neck, I could still and would normally train my left arm. And Cisa says, I've played everything, but my main is usually Imperial or Red Guard just for the combat bonuses. And see, because the Imperials tried to decapitate me, I take offense at that at the beginning of Skyrim. So I really can't bring myself to play the Imperials. Plus, I am not a dog of the Thalmar. Oh, yeah. Now, I think the Stormcloaks are just about as bad for being racist jerks. So I would love for them to fix Skyrim where you could start your own third faction, Whiterun Forever, and conquer both their scaly selves, wipe out the dragons that are causing problems, and then rule as the unaltered overlord. Yes, Kitty. Yes, Kitty. Although, I mean, that the fact that you would play Khajiit is just shocking to me, Kitty. That just shocks me, dear. No, well, yeah, the cat thing and the grace business, sneaky and smooth. I get it, and I'm not necessarily going Breton for the bonuses and stuff. I'm just saying that that's just usually how I work out. Just that little scotch of doing one or two things I shouldn't be able to. But comparatively, I usually do Bretons or actually I like playing an Argonian. I played an Argonian who I didn't change his name. I made him prisoner just because I wanted to be able to swim around. Which I'm sure sounds, obscenely ridiculous. But anyway, digression. It's been a very long time since I played the very first release of Skyrim. I would imagine video games can be very challenging for you to play, Cindy. And I'm sorry for that because that's a great fun in life. Now, just because I am not up to sword fighting does not mean my duties to myself or others end. No. This is the time where you can read up, you study, you watch your videos, you watch recordings of your past performances, you watch recordings of the past recordings of the people you fight or people you respect's recordings. You examine the quality of your gear. You look at new gear. You train other things. I mean, right now I am not up to swinging a sword around very much, but I have this lovely cylinder that is in my pocket, and it is the second cylinder for a foam dart gun acquisition of mine. So I can still practice some form of marksmanship. I can take the time to practice other things. Since this hand was out of commission, I was slowly building up my left hand towards drawing again. The point is, you know your limitations. You pay attention. You learn what you need to do when it goes wrong. Figure out how the procedure for responding to the bad day is. And if you're at all possible, you still drill. I would say I am at a point today, because of the pain and weakness in my arm from the nerves. They do not tolerate this sort of thing lightly. I wouldn't even trust this arm to use a cane to hold me up right now. But yes, my dear Cindy, this is the time when you drill footwork. This is the time when you start working on your box step. You want that control. You practice transitioning, moving in and out of things. It's also why you want, if you do things a lot, you either optimally want your gear to facilitate you at your worst day, which is why I train with the wolf sabers, but I fight with the polypropylene rapiers. They're significantly lighter. And on my worst day, I can still fight with them. And not being distracted by the weapon does give you the benefit of looking at your footwork, drilling in front of a mirror and seeing, is my body moving how it's supposed to? Exactly. And Thesis says, when I was down with hip, I was focused solely on upper body. Did the Yang 24 simplified without moving my lower body? It was weird, but gave me something to do. There is a wonderful gentleman, and I cannot remember his name. He's an African-American gentleman who did videos on sitting Tai Chi or chair Tai Chi. And I did a huge amount of that when my legs were very bad. So that is absolutely the right recourse. And this is something you want to have planned and set up ahead of time. So if you're concerned, you make sure that you have your Spanish magic circle or the cross in the circle, footwork diagrams all down in place before they're the only thing you can do. Because if you're like, well, I could do them, but I don't. Oh, yes. Wait. Oh, you know what? No. I know David Dorian Ross. He does it. He's good too. There's an African-American guy who does it, and then David Dorian Ross. I've done both their stuff. They're good when that's what you can do. And it's important. A lot of people will scoff at if that's what I can do, why am I doing it? If that's not enough, there is a very dangerous attitude of all or nothing. And I always want to teach you guys something or nothing, because your health and capacity, even if you're healthy, okay, will still wax and wane as, the month passes, as what you eat passes, as the sunlight moves, as the temperature moves. You will have on days and you will have off days. And the only thing, we can do when we're posed with this is train for both. So you want to train your stamina always towards your best day. But you want to train you want to be able to function with the weight capacity towards your weakest. And let's see. Okay, that's just my screen just flickered for reasons that have nothing to do with what we're doing. Sorry. So I want you guys, when you are setting up how you train at home, you need to codify it. But you need a solid form. It is much better with very simple tools. So you need a sword simulating object. You need something to represent what you are training with. You need a target, and you need two types of target optimally. You need a padded stationary target, and you need a light mobile target. The padded stationary, I've done a video on a long time ago. I made one literally out of some of the garbage I had because a company called, I want to say Benjamin Arms, was making very beautiful versions for a couple $100. And I'm like, here, we can make this out of some scrap and some duct tape and hardened plastics. I think hardened plastic, either reinforced cardboard or hardened plastic, and a loop of wire, like twisty tie, essentially, so you can hang it up. And we made a target. If you can find them, the balls you hang from the ceiling in a garage are perfect point control targets. If you can't, simply putting a hole through a tennis ball, running a rope through, tying a knot in it. If you can, tie a knot on top so it doesn't have a lot of wiggle, and then hanging it somewhere it's safe for it to swing around where it's not going to hit people or break things. Something like that. And you use that to maximize your point control, your accuracy. A lot of times I have my padded target behind the hanging target. So I have to hit the hanging target or parry the hanging target out of the way to get into the wall target. As a transition, you can actually hang swords. Not swords, you wouldn't do live steel, but chunk of PVC or dowel rod. And you can hang it so that you come in, you parry it out of the way and angle either across the top or under by making these little things that work towards giving you a little bit more challenge. Okay. You set that up when you are healthy enough to set it up so that you can use it easily when you aren't able to do other things. There is nothing wrong if your legs aren't working to sit in a chair and throw shots at a target. There is nothing wrong with if your dominant hand is messed up, using your offhand. If you're in a situation like me where both hands could be problematic because the nerves on this one are firing off almost as bad, then you do your drills, do your lunges. Yes, do your lunges. Do your footwork, because bad footwork makes soldiers cry. Makes swordmasters cry. And see, David introduced me to my first Qigong form. It was recorded onto VHS and transferred to another VHS before being downloaded to my computer. The quality was a bit shite, but it works. Absolutely. And I've done that form thesis. It's a good way to start the day. It really is. Um, and like I said, I've had to do, because of me, I'm constantly adjusting and readjusting and tweaking what I do. And sometimes what I do is I have to be the guy on the couch. There are times, and I hate admitting it because it's what I rebel against. It's, my enemy. But there are times where the best possible version of me right now is the version of me that is sitting on the couch with my arm braced so it's not getting hurt, trying to keep, liquids up and eat something, which I'm having some trouble with right now, and moving forward. It's not glamorous, it's not exciting, but recovery has to be something you think about. So first, and before you can recover, you have to rest through whatever's going on. Now, I admit I'm in a bit of recovery after that. I'm still not where I want to be after the month of being so dreadfully ill. My stamina is still not where I am, and I'm not. I still have some issues, but not where I am, not where I want to be. The only way to address these issues is to literally do something about them, and to do it slow and steady and ease on, because if you push too hard, you'll end up back in the brace. Now, I would love to say I was pushing too hard. It would be far less embarrassing, far less upsetting than I was just sitting perfectly still, just sitting there. I was watching YouTube. I think it was one of the Hermitcraft Minecraft videos. My hand just goes click and go, ah! And I'm done for a couple days. That's the reality of it. Now, a lot of people will sugarcoat it, and to an extent, it can be accused of that, because if I know I'm going to have a fighter practice or I'm going to an event, God help me, for the we'll say between 3 weeks and 1 week, of prep time, I am being very careful, especially the few days before. I'm making sure I'm getting the rest I need. I'm making sure I'm very hydrated. I'm making sure all my ducks are just in as far a row as I can. And I can, with that kind of prep time, I can make myself look okay. I can look functional. Some people will say I look good at it. I say I am not that kind to myself, but thank you. This is why it's so important to deal with people willing to proudly wear their scars. Dealing with people who aren't hiding their disability, if they have one. Because if you don't hide it, people get this idea. They get an image only based on what they know. And I've had people who have seen me only at practices and things like, Nick's not laid out. They haven't seen me on a bad day. And last night into today's been a bad day for my arms. Decent day for my legs, but a bad day for my arms. And it's been worsened by the fact that we have major storm fronts just passing us or grazing us. So the pressures in here are constantly flexing. That will cause you problems. And I tell you what, if you do have disabilities or limitations, you want to be watching the weather before an event, even if it's indoors, because you got to understand that barometric pressure changes, the temperature. You need to factor all that in your prepping. It takes a huge amount of work and preparation and attention to make an impromptu seeming event look good. If you're going to fight, you need to have all your ducks in a row. And you need to schedule just about equal time to draw to the mean, return to the mean. Oh, there's a phrase. Hey, babe, what was that phrase? Reset to the mean? Deaton Creepy Sneak used it. But you know what I mean. Things try to reset to normal. So you have to realize that you're going to, after the convention, after the practice, after the championship, after whatever, you don't just hard stop and go back to normal practices, or hard stop and go to, a laid back route. You have to let your body wind down that arc too. And understanding, got hair in my mouth, the bell curve of build up, event, and recovery. If I have, let's say I have a practice, okay, and people come over, and fortunately I can practice, and we'll say it goes 10 till 8. That's a nice, 10 till 10, something like that, 12 hours. Now there'll be breaks for food and going to the bathroom and yattering, but we'll say 8 hours of inner fighting. I'm going to have to drill and build up to doing those drills and stuff as close to doing 8 hours of it as possible to be able to weather that. And then I have to let it inch down a little bit. It's sort of like if you run a long race, you don't just stop running. I used to do cross country, believe it or not. I was spiral fracturing my femur, but I was doing cross country. When you run that hard, that long, you have to do cool down laps. You have to let yourself ease back down, or you can get real sick real fast. You can get hurt. You can have horrific things happen to you, because our bodies are not made to run at extreme stress all the time, and we are not made to go from 0 to 60 back to 0. Our bodies, okay, this is going to be odd, but bear with me. Our bodies are not like driving in America, in cities, okay? Gun it between traffic lights. No, it's hard on the motors. It's hard on the brakes. It's hard on everything. Cars do much better on long roads where they can, ease up, get on the ramp, get to a cruising speed, and stay there and just chill till they get low on gas, and then they slow back down, get gas, get back on. It does less wear and tear on the car, less wear and tear on the driver. We need to keep that mentality when we're looking at our own personal training. Kitty has been teaching dance forever. She's got to teach her kids and adults to cool down after they've been doing a bunch of stuff. You think about how things are supposed to be, and that's why it's important to, as adults, when we're doing things that we are scheduling, how much effort we put into. Why are you pushing hard now? I'm not pushing hard. I'm pushing a little harder so that I can build up, not burn too many points, but get a little more comfortable, so that when I hit the day of, it's not a complete lurch. And then after, it's like the next day I'm out. working. Sorry, I had a memory go through my mind. Years ago, there was I was having practices, and it was pouring rain, and I had plastic swords, and it's rain, and it's 80 some odd degrees. So I'm out back drilling, and an old friend of mine came out, and she came out and she said, "What? I'm sorry, I'm running late. What are you doing?" I said, "I'm drilling. It's practice day." And she says, "Well, what would you be doing if I wasn't here?" I look at her funny. Drilling. Because I've been building up to be physically active this day. Whether I want to or not, whether the situations, I need to. I need to put in enough that my body remembers it so that I can pull it back down. And see, we're getting comments from Thesis. Hold on. Sorry. I figured out a better way to work this mouse now, so it's a little easier than it was this morning. That's one of the issues I have with classes at college. The old Seafood Jack would do 10-minute warm-up at the beginning of class, but really didn't do cool downs at the end. He just dismissed us. And you have to have cool downs. I tried to get people to stretch out, do some slow drills, ease into it, do practice, and then, wind down a bit. Stretch at least before you go in and eat. Take it easy. And if you've been sitting, you got to stretch again. You got to make sure that you can move. Now, for me, that would mean doing something like slowly sparring with Trey. If Trey's around, I can always get, and that's Trelena Bachman for the people who don't know, the range of gleeful opposition I require. I can, because she can follow the dance as I'm leading it. It's the only way I can explain it. But so we can build, and I can see how she's doing. She sees how I'm doing. We figure out where we are. Usually then we get to fun, and then we wind back down toward the end. It's why I preferred to get my first couple bouts of any practice that she was at with her, and then go on to anybody else. Because I knew I could safely adjust my speed and, I don't want to say skill set, but aggression level to ramp it up. Which is why we usually took a walk after. Yeah, and that makes sense. You have to do it if they won't set it up for you. Kitty says 10 to 15 minutes stretching and warm up at the beginning of class, another 10, 15 minutes cool down. Might be a bit shorter for the younger students and longer for the older, but I make sure I do it. Because you're a good teacher, Kitty. Everything I've heard about you and everything I've seen implies me to respect your capacities and your curriculum, your setup. And that's what you want. You want a teacher. The teacher should always be putting the students first. Now, that doesn't mean giving them what they want. No. It means giving them what they need, regardless of what you want. And what that means is, because I've already stretched out before people arrive, so that I can go through my stretches comfortably to while keeping track of theirs and keeping an eye out on everything. So I have to be loose to have everybody else loosen up. And that's just part of the message and the need of an instructor. It's not enough to simply present the technique. It's not enough to simply say, this is the technique, I'm describing it. This is the technique, I'm demonstrating it. This is the technique you've responded to me about the description. This is the technique. You have demonstrated it to me. This is the technique, and we are using freeform to understand it. That is the basic arc of the story of what you're learning. But there needs to be, between all these different sessions, this is the warm-up to see how your body's moving. This is your cool down to see how your body's moving and make sure you're not hurt. This is the point of your, because you're not, at that point, you're not just teaching them the style you're teaching them. You're teaching them to be able to listen to their own bodies and understand what's being said. Because there are a lot of types of pain. There's a lot of places where pain in different places means a whole lot. And knowing what is the stuff you're supposed to work through, which is the stuff you're supposed to stop for, and what is a serious problem, can only be done for I'm sorry, my brain just crashed. It's not just done for the beginning so that they're beginners. Progress does not go in a straight line. It squiggles its way up, and that's the only way you're going to get it. Now, let's see. Kitty says, I also give the students 5 or 6 choices for music for each routine. So I'm not forcing them to listen to something they hate for however long to learn that dance. But I don't agree with you can only dance to hip-hop BS that people love to push on their kids. We listen to classical, rock, metal, other things you don't normally hear in a dance routine. That's beautiful. Because now you're while you're not intending it per se, or at least billing it, you're teaching music appreciation, and you're teaching the ability to reach out and pull the rhythm out of different sound sets. And you're preventing the people who get isolated in their musical tastes. Very good, Kitty. Now, when I am feeling better, hopefully by next week, we will try to do something really snazzy. I don't want to spoil it, but I'm looking forward to it. We have cracked our hour, and I have made it through. However, I can feel myself just getting a little faltery. So what I'm going to do, folks, is say it's been a lovely chat. Thank you for your tolerance and your understanding. Oh, what? First time I played Bollywood. Yes. Oh, gosh, yes. First time I played Bollywood for the kids. They were so confused, but the dance required something dynamic, but with good rhythm. I quite like Bollywood movies. My favorite, I think my favorite is either Doom 1 or Debang 3. And it's really hard which one of those two are my current favorites. But I think you could see them on Prime. They're very good. But yes, go have a snack and a nap. That's basically my plans for the evening, is to wrap up the show and go eat something probably. I have no appetite, but I have necessity, so I will get something in me. I'm sorry. You're literally talking about an Indian metal band literally called Bloodywood. I am sorry. As I have mentioned before, I am dyslexic. Oh, God. The band is called Bloodywood. I read it as Bollywood. Okay, I'm sorry about that. And look up the song Endurant and you'll see what I mean. I'm sure I will enjoy it. I am so sorry. Like I said, the letters just floated around enough that my brain went, I know what that is. And Sydney's promoting my Amazon bookstore. Please consider buying my books. The fight manuals are very, very good for building people up. I've had a lot of compliments on my recent fiction, so I hope you look up my older fiction. And you can see my artistic journey for the last 20 years over on deviantart.com/NickT. And consider becoming a Patreon member, because as little as $1 a month lets me buy gear to review, get training things, and do some really neat things for people who wouldn't have it wouldn't be able to get it. You need rest, Nick. I really do. I'm a little, like I said, pain makes it hard to sleep, and it takes a lot out of me. And yes, don't forget to go here. My other channel, the Nicholas Talkert channel, where I support writers and other creatives. Endured is good, but you should look up V Jerry, because the song is an awesome message. Okay. The G Very. Yeah, there we go. Guys, I'm just going to say, and thank you. Thank you for your tolerance on this one. Sorry, it wasn't quite what's normally said. Keep your eyes open. Do your drills. Be kind to yourself and each other. And as always, thank you for supporting your local Swordmaster. I will see you next week. I'm going to get out of here before I jumble up something else. Toodles, folks.